Good afternoon, everybody. And today we have with us Adam Koenig, a state representative who's been a long-term public servant, first as county commissioner, now as a state representative. And Adam, I appreciate your time. And you just come off probably one of the most unique sessions. I guess all the sessions are unique, but you come off a unique session here. Share with us the impact and the kind of things you had to deal with as you were in Frankfort.
Well, thanks for having me, Judge. And it's an honor to get to serve the people in Frankfort. And I've been there for now my 14th year. So seen a lot of stuff, but this was a brand new experience to do this during a pandemic. And it obviously truncated a lot of things that we had planned to do. And all of a sudden our focus was safety, making sure that everybody was safe across the state, that we were safe to do our job. And so we actually had what we called remote voting for the first time. We all had to be in Frankfort on the Capitol campus, but we could stay in our offices and vote remotely, and they encouraged that. There's a few times I had to go down and to the House floor and carry a few bills in the last couple of days, but otherwise I was pretty much in my office or in a neighboring office to vote. So it was certainly a different experience, and as some of your other folks have discussed, the elections, which have changed, and I know you've talked to Dave Summey, the county clerk, on that, and certainly our budget process, which this has always forever been a 2-year budget, and this year we passed a 1-year budget, so we can come back next year and work on what it is we're going to do. And in fact, we're probably going to have a special session before the end of June because of the vast deficit for the road plan. I believe in what we passed this year, we said if this year's budget is 5%, more than 5% below what was expected, then we have to come in and make the cuts. And that's probably going to be the plan for the option for the road plan, is that's going to be under 5%. So people aren't driving, haven't been driving. And people also don't understand that a lot of the car, when you buy a new car, that money goes in the road fund too. And not a lot of new cars being purchased right now. So we're going to have to go back down there probably by the end of June and fix that up.
So all these projects, all the maintenance that has continued to be needed while the dollars are not there for you all to allocate to that needed resource. So you've got to deal with that coming up. And it's not as simple as everyone would like it to be. I know, so we appreciate your work there. Some of these other items, while the economy has shut down, businesses impacted, you're a chair, I think, of a licensure committee in Frankfort. You've done some things to try to have some new regulations put in place to keep the economy going as best possible. Can you update us on those?
Absolutely. I'm fortunate to be chair of licensing, occupations, and administrative regulations in the House. And my Senate cohort is Senator Schickel from over in Boone County. So we work well together. And so with this pandemic, I've established a good working relationship with Carrie Harvey, the new Secretary of the Public Protection Cabinet, which is where a lot of the things that deal with licensure, occupations, and stuff are housed. And so so far we've worked on, they've done a great job on for people who need a license to do their job. Like, I'm a realtor in my other world, and I have to have a license to do that. They push back for a month the amount of when we had to actually register our license. Others have been pushed back or delayed, so people can, who are negatively impacted and can't work during that pandemic, they didn't have that additional expense, so at least they could plan for it a little bit better. And worked with them on things like getting the folks who cut our hair ready to go and up and moving, and the plans for that. So I've worked with the cosmetologist, some on their plan to reopen, but a couple things I want to talk about. Certainly have a lot of Catholic charities in Northern Kentucky. And obviously you can't do bingo right now. And raffles are a very in-person experience. And so those have been suspended, but I heard from some constituents and contacted Secretary Harvey a few weeks ago and talked to him about the need to do something. And they were working on regs already, new regs, emergency regs for be able to allow online raffles so that these charities, not just up here, but across the state, can continue to raise money for their needs. And up here, it's for obviously for a lot of schools,
Sure.
which is important. So, but I, work with them, and this might be something that if it works effectively, that we might try to make it legal going forward.
Sure.
And then we have electronic pull tabs that are utilized, and they're working on figuring out how to allow that to occur. So, but that's an in-person and requires a lot of touching of screens. So, but that's kind of next on their plate.
Well, you've always been known to work with all sides of the aisle, or both sides of the aisle, and then this is an example of that, trying to make sure you can help where you can, especially in this neat area for fundraising that these nonprofits are utilizing. So that's great to see that. Hopefully that works well.
I hope so, and again, we'll see how well it works. And there's parts of the state obviously that don't quite have the technology that we have up here in rural Kentucky. So that'll be a challenge, but yeah, hopefully it works, and people will see that it's not terrible, and we can maybe make it a permanent fixture.
Well, one of the other areas since day one, liquor stores have been open, but most of the time we've all enjoyed going to restaurants and picking up a drink if we were so inclined. And one of the emergency regulations you all were able to put into place were some of the sales of those of libation. And so fill us in on how that's worked and it's in some of your thoughts moving forward.
Sure. We and I don't think we get to take any credit for it. I think it was the governor and their staff who not only kept the liquor stores open, but allowed for restaurants to sell to go liquor or beer or whatever, which was previously not allowed unless you're in an entertainment district. And I know it's been popular, and I know I've heard from people who think it's great, and hopefully this is something that again we work on and it goes forward, and people see that it can be done responsibly by adults in all parts of the state, and that might be something we can allow people to do going forward in non-entertainment districts. And just so people know, an entertainment district is a specifically designed area like Newport on the Levee. Mm-hmm. I think Bellevue also has an entertainment district where you can actually purchase and walk around in that area. If you've ever been to Louisville, and the first one was 4th Street Live in the state. So, so anyway, I think that's a good example, and certainly there's a lot of businesses that have been hurting, but liquor stores are not one.
And then one of the things I've noticed that it's not quite a replacement for the in-restaurant sales, right? I mean, no one's been able to sure. replicate that, but you and the governor and everyone else have been trying to facilitate that to limit the losses as much as possible. One of the other areas you've been working on for a long time is the direct shipment for alcohol, I think, and update us on what that looks like moving forward.
Well, this year passed I was fortunate enough to sponsor the bill to allow direct shipment of alcohol to one's house. So that will become law on July 15th. And again, I was on the phone with the Alcohol Beverage Control Commissioner and Secretary Harvey yesterday morning talking about the regs, and they may not be ready till the end of July, but hopefully they will be, and hopefully by August 1st, you'll be able to go online and order directly from a producer any alcohol you want and have it shipped directly to your home. And it's been actually watched from all across the country for a couple of reasons. One, there was a Supreme Court ruling in Tennessee, on a Tennessee case for United States Supreme Court in May of last year that ruled that a lot of things that states do when it comes to licensure was unconstitutional and violated the Commerce Clause. So we cleaned up a lot of that stuff. And with the exception of small farm wineries, no one can ship in or out right now in Kentucky. We tried to pass something that allowed in-person sales and shipment from distilleries only, but the in-person requirement is not constitutional.
Okay.
So we actually have basically gone from 5 miles an hour to 100 miles an hour. Most states just allow wine shipments, so it was a big, gigantic undertaking, and hopefully it works. But
Great. Well,
just like you can ship anything else, you should be able to ship alcohol straight to your house if that's what you want to do.
well, it's one of the great areas you've been helping to lead the way on that, and I think everyone is hopefully going to, obviously manage it responsibly and be a
Of
big
course.
benefit as we come out of this COVID, out of this pandemic and the economic impact to it. So, thank you for your leadership and your work ongoing in the Commonwealth, and especially supporting Northern Kentucky. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. I appreciate it.